Most business owners, when they try to sell through their content, unintentionally make the same mistakes. They think that the best way to sell is to talk more about what they sell. So they fill their content calendars with product promotions, service explanations, client wins, and a few behind-the-scenes posts, and maybe even a discount offer every now and then. And they keep their fingers crossed and hope that if they just talk about their product often enough, people will eventually take notice, get interested, and buy. But if you've been doing that, if you've been putting out content consistently and still not finding that you're getting many leads or conversions or new customers from it, I want you to know it's not because you're not working hard enough. It's not because you need to be more aggressive or louder or more salesy. It's because the way that people buy, and more importantly, the way that people build trust online, has changed. Today, if you want your content to sell, you cannot make your product the hero of the story anymore. Your customer has to be the hero. You are not the star of the show, and neither is your product or service. Sorry, not sorry. The star of the show is the person reading your post, watching your video, and scrolling past your story. And your job is not to convince them how amazing your product is, but to make them feel like you truly understand the journey that they're on, the struggle that they're facing, and the future that they want to create. Because when somebody feels understood, they naturally trust you more. And when they trust you more, they lower their barriers. And when they lower their barriers, they become more open to change. They become more open to taking that next step, not because you pushed them and not because you pressured them, but because you resonated with them on a real human level. Now, this isn't just some nice marketing theory, it's exactly how some of the biggest personal brands and brands in the world are growing online today. I recently had Callum Church, one of the creative leads behind Simon Squibb's brand, join me recently for a private workshop inside the Content Club. It's my video community for small business owners who are actually looking to create content that gets results, and the link is in the first line of the description. What Callum broke down in that workshop really stuck with me because he broke it down in a way that made it feel so simple. He said every powerful piece of storytelling content follows a three-step narrative: setup, conflict, and resolution. And that's it. It's the same structure that human beings have responded to for thousands of years. And whether you're telling a story around a campfire or writing a LinkedIn post to sell your product or service, the structure that grabs attention, builds trust, and drives action hasn't changed. So today, I want to walk you through exactly how to use that structure inside your content so that you can sell more without ever feeling like you're selling. The first part is setup. Setup is where you meet your audience exactly where they are today. You don't start by talking about what you offer or jump straight into explaining that your service is better than somebody else's. You start by describing the reality that your audience is living in right now, in their own words, in their own feelings. Think of it almost like you're walking into a doctor's office and you sit down and the doctor immediately hands you a bottle of pills without even asking what's wrong. You'd feel confused, unseen, and probably a little bit defensive. It's pretty likely that you wouldn't trust them as the expert, and you'd be a little bit concerned, and you'd likely, at least I wouldn't, you wouldn't take the pills. But if the doctor asked you questions and listened to you carefully, repeated some of your symptoms back to you in a way that made you feel understood, and genuinely explained what might be going on, you'd feel far more open to hearing what they have to say. It's essentially the same thing with your content, okay? If you skip the setup and go straight to the pitch, people tune out. But if you start by describing their world, their frustrations, their dreams, the small everyday moments that they recognize, they instantly feel like you get them. And once they feel like that, they're much more likely to keep listening. For example, if you help small businesses create better marketing videos, just like I do, you don't start that conversation by saying, here's why you need my course. You start by saying something like, you're sitting there, staring at your phone, knowing that you should be posting a video, but somehow everything that you film feels awkward and frustrating and maybe a little bit forced. That's essentially what setup's all about. Giving context, setting the scene, and meeting them where they are now without rushing to fix anything yet. That part comes later. Once you've then nailed and got the setup stage dialed in, you then move on to the second stage, which is conflict. Conflict is essentially where you introduce the tension, and this is the part most businesses either skip or completely get wrong because it can feel uncomfortable to talk about it. But without conflict, there is no reason to change. If everything was fine all the time, people would stay where they are. So conflict is more about gently shining a light on what happens if nothing changes. It's not about fear-mongering or guilt-tripping. It's about helping your audience see clearly and kindly that staying still has a cost and a consequence. So continuing with our current example, your conflict might sound something like, the truth is, no matter how many videos you post, if you don't have the right strategy behind them, it's like shouting into a void. You can work harder and harder, but without a system that connects your content to your audience and your business goals, you're always going to feel like you're spinning your wheels. You're not attracting them. You're not being harsh. You're just simply helping them to see the real cost of inaction and the missed opportunities going past them. Once you've helped them feel seen and you've made them realize the change that is necessary, you move on to the third and final stage, which is resolution. Resolution is where you show them a better future, okay? Not by listing the features of your products or services, not by dumping facts and stacks right in front of them, but by painting a picture of what life could look like after their problem has been solved. You're essentially helping them to step into the identity of someone who has achieved the outcomes that they want to achieve. So your resolution might sound something like, imagine sitting down to film a video and knowing exactly what to say and how to say it and who you're speaking to. Imagine opening your inbox to find new leads discovering you through your content and already feel ready to work with you before they've even met you. That is essentially what the resolution stage is all about. You're giving them something to move towards. And when you do it this way, in terms of setup, conflict, and resolution, you never have to worry about feeling pushy or awkward. You're not trying to force people into buying something that they don't want. You're essentially there to guide them through the journey that deep down they already want to take. You're just the person essentially bringing to light that you understand where they are now, that you understand what's not working, that you have a clear path to help them get somewhere better. So look, I want to give you a simple checklist that you can use every time you create a new piece of content, something that you can literally run through mentally just to make sure that you're ticking all of the boxes. First, setup. Have you clearly described the real world that your audience is living in right now? Are you using their words and not your company's corporate jargon? Would somebody in your audience nod along and say, yes, that's exactly how I feel? Second, conflict. Have you gently highlighted what happens if they stay where they are now? Are you making them aware of the problem without blaming or judging them? Does the tension feel real and relatable, not just exaggerated and forced? And third, resolution. Are you painting a clear and attractive picture of a better future that they could have? Are you helping them imagine themselves succeeding instead of focusing on your product's features? Does your content naturally lead them to the next step without needing a hard sell? If you can answer yes to all of these questions, you are telling a story that builds trust, builds authority, and builds momentum for your business without ever needing to feel pushy, awkward, or salesy. And remember, the more that you practice, the easier that this gets. And I can say that from experience. It's true. Over time, you'll stop thinking about the setup, conflict, and resolution framework as separate steps, and you'll start to naturally start speaking and writing in that way that makes people feel seen and helps them to move forward. Now, if you want help turning your likely rigid videos into really compelling stories that actually work for your business, you can explore becoming a member of the Content Club by clicking the first link down in the description, so you can check it out in your own time. And before you go, feel free to check out this video where I share 10 years of learning when it comes to creating videos that actually get your business noticed, and feel free to subscribe to my channel for weekly value-packed videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Ciao.